Hey everyone, I'm Gonzo. This is Mark, and we are Dungeon Class, and today we're going to be talking about why you should be playing Dungeons and Dragons with your family. Mark, we love Dungeons and Dragons. We love playing together, we love playing with our family, and we wanted to make a video explaining why we think everyone else should be playing with their
Absolutely,
families.
absolutely. This is something we are really passionate about, and that is playing with your family. If
Okay.
you can do it, this is what you need to do.
If at all possible.
Yeah, this is the best way.
So there's tons of benefits, and we kind of went through these and wanted to talk about some of those benefits of actually playing together with your family.
Yeah, so I would say one of the things in this day and age, it's an opportunity to your family to unplug. We're all on our gadgets, we're on our phones, we're on our tablets, phone ringing, everything that electronics should really take our attention.
TV, Xbox One, PlayStation computers,
All that
Yeah.
stuff, all the devices. So those things they kind of detract from really being engaged with each other as a family.
Yeah.
So this is an opportunity to unplug and everyone to have like the undivided attention, which is it's kind of rare these days.
Yeah, and that's really important for families is to have some time when you're not engaged with something else, but with each other. I know one of the things I noticed when we started playing together was that no one was on their phone. No one was engaged with something other than each other.
Yeah.
Even if we were arguing about which door to open or how to open the door, we were still not on our phones or on anything else. So I think that was really cool.
Yeah, another thing too is the communication and a real conversation at the table, and you have to. As a team, you're working together as a group, and you got to do things. You have to talk to each other, and how often do families get together and have a real conversation with each other? But you do that; it's just built into the game.
Yeah, that's great.
All right, and another thing is one thing that's nice is we have a lot of stress in our lives. We're always going places, go 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 go. It's
Creating
nice
all these awesome YouTube videos.
Yeah, no stress at all with that.
That's
easy.
stressful.
Yeah. So stress, but it's nice to get around the table and laugh.
Yeah.
And there's something about the sound of your family laughing together. It kind of energizes you. It relieves the stress there, but also you go home or you go to bed. You go to, and feeling energized because you just had a nice, relaxing evening with your family.
Yeah, if you're an adult and you have the pressures of normal everyday life, that you can go days without actually laughing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've luckily I don't have that very often because I have a lot of interaction with people, but
Right.
you can, and this can be very therapeutic.
Yeah.
To be able to sit down together as with your husband or with your wife, with your children, with your grandma, with Uncle Pete, whoever,
Right.
or crazy Uncle Mark, and and just get together. And like you said, we have not played a game session without laughter being involved.
No, absolutely, and that's good stuff. And when you said about going a whole day without laughing, I remember telling my wife one day, I'm like, I just went through a whole day and I didn't do having fun today.
Right.
Having fun, you have to kind of chase it sometimes. You don't get it necessarily the same from the electronic devices.
No, it's such a fleeting little thing.
So another thing I think is great for everybody is problem solving. We all have problems in our lives and things that come up and we have to deal with. And this is, you have to, part of the game is solve problems, but solve them together as a team. You come together and you solve things. So you adapt and you learn to problem solve together as a team. You have to build consensus. You have to come up with a plan together. And that's all part of that problem solving.
It's a skill that you actually can learn and develop.
Yeah.
It's not something, some people are innately born with the ability to do that, but it's definitely something you can develop and make it even a bigger part of your life. And for young people, if you're playing with your children, it's a great thing to learn at an early age.
Right, and I think that folds into being resilient. I think it's important to teach kids
Sure.
that things don't always go your way. And what do you do with that? And in the game, things you get the wrong roll. You try to bust through the door, and you can't bust through the door. So things are going to not go your way. What do you do? And in a gaming setting, you have opportunities to practice that. You're role playing it. Those kind of scenarios where things. Okay, now what do you do? So thinking on your feet.
And part of learning that being resilient is learning to deal with failure.
Yeah.
Which happens, unfortunately, because we live and die by the dice sometimes.
Yeah.
You can roll pretty bad no matter how great your plan is and all your problem-solving techniques, and you fall flat on your face, including even, if your characters were to to die or get knocked out or something.
Right.
You know, a TPK where the whole party is wiped out or something like that. That can be different for especially a young person or a child that hasn't really experienced that in video games where you can just hit restart.
Right.
You know, I love Fortnite because I can just, okay, I died, I'll, you know, you can play again or whatever. But it's different in Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, and the failure is part of life. We all fail at times. And what do you do? I mean, what did you learn from that? And I think you have an opportunity to do that in the game. All right, well, we failed doing that. What else can we do? What could we have done better? You know, and so those are kind of things that just kind of organically come up as you're playing the game, and it's natural. It goes beyond like lecturing your kid. Now, son, things aren't always going to go your way, you know, but you can show them that things don't go, and this is what we do,
which is real life.
It is real life.
Which simulates real life really well. Yeah.
So I think that's the thing. The other thing is the traditions.
Okay. So just getting together at any point as a family more than once, you know. Some of our traditions are eating together around the table, right? So whenever we can, we're not plopped in front of a TV, but we like to eat around the table. We did that when our kids were little. Now they're all teenagers and half are out of our home, but it really helped us have that one moment in the day when we could reconnect with each other. And this could be another one of those traditions where once a week we get together, or even every couple weeks, and you know, we're able to play this game and continue the story that we're building together.
Well, you talk about too, like one of your traditions you do as a family is you vacation together, and you spend a lot of time. But you said that this game brings out a different side.
It does. In my, we'll put the link up here, but in the video where we did an interview, I did an interview with Benjamin, my son. One of the things I learned quickly about him through Dungeons and Dragons was his creative side, which I did not see from him. My other children are all very artsy. He was not that way, and we quickly saw a change in him where he very quickly became the most creative one at the table. He was thinking differently, solving problems differently than the rest. His character creations were all homebrew crazy things that we were, as Dungeon Masters, you and I have had to adjust to. And he draws now and does a lot more things. He's just very artsy now, and he wasn't that before we started playing. And I definitely feel that this could be a catalyst to be, you know, that catalyst to start your creativity and especially with someone young playing with a child or something.
And creativity is huge. I mean, obviously, I feel like that's something that's kind of
it's a lost art.
Dying in our youth in particular is not having opportunities to be creative. They're used to being they're used to consuming products of creativity.
Well,
but not
video
creative.
games, movies, and, you know, anything they're involved in. On those ends, the creative part has been done for them.
Right.
Minecraft blew up. Why? Because people could do their own thing and create their own thing. It blew up because of that.
Yeah, you're right.
Most games and most things that they do are limited by what the designers of that game created for them. Dungeons and Dragons isn't like that at all. It's all up here, and it's within the story that you're telling as a group around the table.
That's interesting because what you said about Fortnite and Minecraft, that whole idea. Everyone when a game comes out, people are like, we want more sandbox, and it's kind of interesting because it's like that they're starving creativity, and this game brings it. Another thing it teaches is teamwork. You know, working as a team, and having those interactions, and there's social interactions that happen in the game that you may not see. Like, how often is your little girl gonna sit down and talk to an orc? You know, but that could happen in the game, and what's that gonna look like? And I think it's interesting because you run across creatures from all different races, different monsters, different backgrounds, social backgrounds, and you have to interact with them and talk to them and sometimes get them to do something for you. Cooperate with you, so they're having these opportunities to role play scenarios that they might run into in real life, and where they're outside of their comfort zone and talking to people they're not used to talking to. So
it could definitely open that up for them. That's awesome.
Another thing I think is one of the things about the game is you making goals, and then okay, so we need to go get conquer that dragon. Well, we can't just run in there and do that. So what are little goals along the way we need to accomplish before we get there?
Yeah, so the Lord of the Rings, the ultimate goal was to return the One Ring to Mordor, right?
Right.
And, there was tons of small goals they had to accomplish along the way by gathering a group to help get Frodo there and all those things. But yeah, goal setting is a great example and a great attribute that kids can learn quickly at an early age.
Right. And I think following rules. One thing about Dungeons and Dragons,
I don't
fifth
like
edition.
rules.
I know rules. Fifth edition is really simplified, but there are a lot of rules. But some of that stuff is kind of self-governing because, like, you teach someone their character, and in the role of their character, they're allowed to do certain things. And so, what's interesting is that kid playing on this side has a set of rules, and this other kid has different rules, maybe because of the different characters they play.
Right.
But they all operate under the umbrella of the rules of the game.
Right.
And so it really, there's a lot of rules in there, and finding your way through this game, but it teaches them why it's important to follow rules and how to self-manage yourself. Because I mean, if you think about, it's hard being a DM. But knowing what everybody can and can't do. And one of the things that we've always said is, like, you're in charge of knowing your character and knowing what they can do. Imagine if you teach young kids that, if they can do that and know what they can and can't do, they're learning how to kind of self-govern themselves, which is an interesting idea. That's not something we see in kids that often. That they can manage their own behavior. So what's happening. And we're teaching them that you can do that. You definitely can be in control of your behavior. So I think that's important.
Yeah, for sure. These are great. There's so many benefits to playing any role-playing game, and although we concentrate on Dungeons and Dragons, and that's where our passion is, there are tons of benefits of just playing a role-playing game around the table together as a family.
I think one cool aspect before we go, I think, is the evening in the playing field. Once the dynamic of being in this game is that there's dad and maybe mom playing, and there's the kids. But in this game, if you're not the DM, you're all the same. You're all on the same playing field. So mom and dad could be in the party, and Junior is running the game. And it's the way it is.
Yeah.
So they take on different roles, but everyone, for a change, they don't have to listen to what mom and dad say necessarily. They have to listen to what the DM says.
Right.
And so it kind of puts the kids on an even playing field, which they don't get to do that very often, where they're, you're down here with us, you're playing with us. And it's kind of a different way to do that.
Yeah, for sure. It changes, like you said, it changes the whole dynamic of the table when, the 13-year-old is running the show.
Absolutely. So, and we encourage that. We encourage if you can, the kids to take a role in playing that, because that'd be a good thing. So if you like this video and like what we do, make sure that you like and subscribe and hit the notifications bell so we can keep doing this. And we love having you. We love talking about, and because we are really passionate about families. Families should play Dungeons and Dragons together. We can't stress that enough. It will draw your family together in a way that no other game really can. And we really feel really strongly about that.
Yep, for sure.
And with that,
class dismissed.